All right, we're sitting here now with Everett Deger from Kimber, and y'all know about Kimber. Some of the finest firearms. They got products. If you've seen any Kimber product, you know it's going to be solid in quality. And, man, we're catching up. How's SHOT Show been, man?
Oh, been busy. I said to one of my colleagues this morning, it's like speed dating. You just got to keep going.
That's exactly right, man. No rest for the weary, right?
Oh, no. I mean, it's been really, really strong. We've had a lot of new introductions at the end of 2024, and it's been really strong for the brand. There's been a lot of opportunities over the years, and Kimber's kind of been hibernating in a couple categories. But with 3 new product debuts in the last 3 months, it's been really, really strong. So we're really excited.
On, man. What all y'all got coming new right now, man?
Well, so as you know, Kimber is known for 2 really great things: hunting rifles and the 1911s. Yeah. So our consumers have been asking for a lot of concealed carry and high-capacity products that we just haven't been able to carry in the past just because we were too busy doing what we were doing. But with recent years, we've had a lot of chances to make better products and increase capacity. So we've got some concealed carry models. We have our first polymer striker-fired handguns, and then we've got a 2K11, so a high-capacity 1911 that a lot of folks have been looking for.
Right on, man. Have y'all noticed in the long rifles, there's a certain caliber that seems to be the hot button right now that more people in the dealers are...
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, so years ago, I spent some time at Hornady years ago, and we kicked things off with the 6.5 about 10 years ago.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, and the Creedmoor was incredibly popular, and Dave Emery and the team over there did a really good job, and then Jason and the team have really released the 7mm PRCs, and then the 6mm PRCs. Those are the ones that are the most requested, plus, you know, like the Legacy 308s and the 30-06. They're kind of always in the background, but Hornady is always at the forefront of innovation.
Right on, man. I tell you, it's crazy. One of the neatest things about walking this show is seeing the iconic brands. Kimber's definitely one of them. When you think of Kimber, you know it's quality, you know it's good. But at the same time, I'm sure it's hard to come up with something innovative at times because y'all are one of those guns that are so good. It's like, how do you break? It's like grandmama's biscuits. Well, what are you supposed to add? I mean, that's got to be tough, you know?
Well, it is. I mean, you know, when a brand becomes so prominent and popular in one category, you don't want to mess with the recipe,
yeah,
because then you end up losing a lot of your loyalists, right? You don't want to take too much of a hard right turn because then you get lost.
Right.
But we've really tried to listen to what a lot of our consumers have been looking for. So first of all, they're like, hey, a 1911 is great, but I need more ammo. So you got to up the capacity.
Yeah.
So we did that with our CDS9 this year. That's our covert double stack 9mm. It has fully ambidextrous controls. It has a hammer and a 1911 style trigger, but it's a really compact design. So kind of the big brother of the Micro 9.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah. So that's been really, really strong for us. And then, of course, our Carbon Compact, which is the big brother on the striker fire side. You know, that was really kind of unexpected for Kimber. But the same could be said about 7 years ago when we came out with our first revolver. People were like, wow, we didn't see this coming.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's done really, really well for us. So we've been really excited. And then, of course, the 2K11, the really high-capacity race gun, if you will. We've got a lot of non-standard features, and that's what Kimber's known for, is offering a production gun with custom features at an affordable price.
I got you. So a lot of anything you change, whether it's capacity or a certain design, it could come from some of your dealers saying, hey, consumers are asking for this, and y'all go back and take the original recipe and maybe tweak it just to add the bells and whistles that maybe is hot right now.
Oh, sure. I mean, so back in the day, if you can remember, I mean, brands kind of did what they did, and they really didn't partner with other brands. You know, they just came out with what they did, and that was it. And we've seen a lot of changes and trends in the last few years. You know, people want to see partnerships. They want to see collaborations, right?
Right.
So we've done a lot better at listening to what our consumers' pain points were, improving on those, and integrating those into our new design. So capacity just wasn't it, right? You know, they wanted good ergonomics. They wanted control of the firearm. They didn't want it to leap a lot. They wanted it when it would extract consistently. So, you know, from external extractors to capacity to design features, right? You know, older guns have bluing or stainless steel. You know, we have Cerakoting, DLC, PVD.
Wow.
All that stuff that has not endemically been part of the Kimber brand in the past, that's what we're doing now.
Right on. Have y'all moved? Are y'all doing shotguns too, or are y'all pretty much sticking in long rifle?
No, we imported shotguns a while back with some Turkish partners, but they just didn't get a lot of traction. You know, again, it's one of those right turns where people are like, I don't know if I'm going to buy a Kimber shotgun.
Right, that makes sense. Just kind of sticking to what kind of got you to where you're at. Well, I mean, that whole Kimber brand, that's like, you know, you go by the booths, like I was saying earlier, there's thousands, it feels like. I'm sure it's hundreds, but it feels like thousands. And there's only a few of these brands. Well, there's quite a few, but you see them, and you're like, wow, okay, this is Kimber. You know, it's a Brown, and it's a Sig Sauer. And so That's got to be an amazing feeling to work for a company where you know it's one of the iconic brands. But I'm sure it's a lot of pressure at the same time.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've been pretty fortunate. I went to school to be a teacher, but during the war in 2006, I made some friends over at the team at Hornady. Spent a lot of time working with those guys on the civilian side, and then after I got back from overseas, spent some time with them and just managed to find my way into some really terrific American brands. Worked for Vista for a while. But Kimber is, like you say, one of those brands that has just always been in the corner of people's eyes as the real aspirational target. If I've got some money and I'm saving it and I want to get a really nice gun, you get a Kimber.
Exactly. What's something maybe people don't know about SHOT Show? You've been in this industry a long time. Like I said, we worked together at Hornady, some at Vista over there with Bushnell. But what's one of the most, everybody looks at what we do, like you guys got the dream job. Obviously a little different lanes. I get to represent, do more of the marketing side of in the field with the guns, with the bows, with the air, whatever. But at the same time, everybody would think that, oh man, what's Everett doing? He's just out there having a good time chatting with Waddell, looking at new pistols.
I'm telling you, I've never hunted so little as I've been in this industry because you're always giving the hunts to the riders or the celebrities who are the ones who deserve it, right? I mean, I'd love to be able to go hunting more often. I miss turkey hunting. I haven't been able to go turkey in a couple of years. Used to compete competitively. We're rebuilding a competitive pistol team at Kimber.
Nice.
So it's been fun. I will tell you that it's never not been a privilege to be a part of this industry and just see the people that 9 times out of 10 will bend over backwards to make sure that you're taken care of. And that character is hard to find nowadays.
What's the biggest challenges you think in where you sit and what your job is every day here?
Oh, from a marketing perspective, it's just making sure that people don't think that we're the devil. And when I say us, I mean our industry has got so much to offer and so much great history and character. I've told folks I'd really love to focus on the harvest versus the hatred. You know? And when you occasionally see some folks on a couple news channels, it becomes a challenge. I can't advertise my product in a lot of channels out there. So we're looking, when I say channels, Facebook or Meta becomes a challenge. You can't advertise on television.
Right.
There is only a few streaming channels that will allow you to advertise products, and even then it's kind of specialized. The old-fashioned print magazines are kind of going away.
Right.
And then you have some limitations on Google and YouTube because you can't really talk about price because you'd be selling a firearm. So just making sure that people understand that if we're talking about a product doesn't mean that we're the devil. We're just trying to get you on board with something that we've loved our whole lives.
That is a heck of a point, Eric, because you're exactly right. Right now, and I think it's even the power of what we're doing, like on My Outdoor TV, even the old linear, which obviously we've all realized that we watch TV and consume television different. Most times it's with our phone or a tablet, especially watch your kids. I mean, they're watching 10 different things at one time.
Well, yeah.
And but at the same time, I don't think people realize from a marketing perspective, if you're putting something, say, on YouTube, there's a million questions of what you're doing. Does it have anything gun related? And so in one way, a lot of what we do, especially in the firearm industry, it is viewed as the devil. That's a good point. I've not heard anybody say that because you're right. We're trying to represent the gun is not the devil. Actually, a gun is a work of art. I mean, and obviously goes without saying, everybody knows it's who's got the gun becomes a problem, but who's got the hands on the steering wheel also become a problem if it's not handled responsibly.
Well, that's a great point. I mean, I even tell folks that a firearm is just a terrific tool, and it can be a really great tool in the hands of a great carpenter. And if the carpenter doesn't know what he's doing, it could be a real bird.
That's right.
So I would love to see if there was one singular voice in the industry that could really be a champion for us.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know that celebrities such as yourself have a terrific voice, but the president represents the nation.
Yes.
I wish that we kind of had a president for our industry who had that type of capability and desire to, when there are people out there who have some negativity, just calm the fears and assuage the concerns that, hey, look, we're out here to perpetuate a real strong history of Americana that's really something that should be cherished and not crucified.
That's a class way to look at it. And to me, that's kind of the class of Kimber, too. I think you represent that well. And you're exactly right, because even in the freedom of speech, well, freedom of speech, the First Amendment and the Second Amendment, they go hand in hand. But so many times you find that we got the Second Amendment, but the freedom of speech, or in this case, to talk about firearms, I mean, you can't do that on TikTok. You really can't. It's just taken away. And if you put it on even a platform that you can have, our kids watching YouTube videos, it gets taken away and you got to fill out a form. Or, to me, just as bad, maybe you get on a platform without asking a bunch of questions, but the algorithm gets shut down. So you'll have a really nice message about a product or a particular hunt, and you all of a sudden you have a couple million followers, and you'll look and it's got like 4 likes. Well, somewhere that got caught up in the system because basically your speech was somewhat limited, and so you're right. I don't think people even think of that, and that's a good point you bring up.
Yeah, so I mean, that when you ask about the biggest challenge, sadly, that's it.
Getting the message out there.
Well, yeah, and just making sure people know that there's a terrific amount of brands and products that are out there to have a really great time. And I mean, Kimber has been a lot more than just a really good-looking firearm. It's created memories. I told people in one of our meetings at our organization a couple of weeks ago, people save money to go out and purchase a Kimber. People will look forward to purchasing a Kimber. People will hand a Kimber down. And a lot of other brands can't say that.
No.
You know, they're like, oh, if I need a disposable product, I'm going to sell this because I need the cash because times are tough. People don't want to do that with our brand, and we've been very fortunate in that regard.
That is a good point. You're right. I mean, you look at a Kimber, there's a couple of brands, like I think of a Weatherby, you think, like I got an old Winchester Pump 22, and I look back at this particular gun, and it's like, okay, it's a family heirloom, so you passing these things down, right? But you when you buy a Kimber, it's like fine pearls that your grandmom gives down to her daughter or granddaughter, you know, and so, yeah, you're exactly right. Guns, in that case, granddaddy's gun, so to speak. So, yeah, it's a piece of art.
Yeah, it's an heirloom, absolutely.
No doubt. Everett, thank you so much for the opportunity to talk with you. Always good to see you, buddy. Always good to work with you, too. So
absolutely, man.
Thanks for coming out and chatting with us. Yes, sir.